Hello everybody, my name is Mistr.Sasek and welcome to today's vlog. Today we're going to talk about BDSM and BDSM relationships. The past few vlogs I've been talking more about mental health and self-help, which I'm very passionate about, and I will continue to make those vlogs in the future. But I did promise you guys the fun stuff, so today we're getting into the fun stuff. I guess at the core of the relationships there is a dominant and a submissive. A dominant is someone who leads the relationship. Notice how I said leads and not controls. Just like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make that horse drink. Same thing goes for these relationships, or it should. You can ask your submissive to do things, but that submissive should not do anything that they genuinely don't want to do. And a dominant, just part of being a good dominant in general, is knowing your boundaries, knowing when to cease and let up, and just always knowing what to do, or not even knowing what to do, but just doing things that you think are in the best interest for your partner and your relationship. And part of being a good submissive is knowing when to stand up for yourself, not always just take it, but standing up for yourself, resisting, and just vocalizing, voicing out what you feel to your partner. Same as any relationship. Sorry, it's a little bit late, but moving forward. In most of these relationships, the submissive may seem as a generally shy, quiet, just timid person, but if their partner is being toxic, either to themselves or to them, then I've seen plenty of times where the submissive goes from being a church mouse to a drill sergeant, taking charge of the relationship, taking charge of the other person, to try and fix them and help them get back on track. Not because that they're mad, but because they care, just as any other relationship. But with BDSM relationships, there's a lot of trust involved, because there's a lot of vulnerability. That's why I said before, a lot of these people are married or have been together for years, and I don't see them splitting apart or their bonds being dissolved, because you have to put a lot into these relationships. And for a good relationship, the more you put in, the more you get out generally. Not all the time, but for a good relationship at the core, that's what should happen. So, that's a little bit more about BDSM relationships. Some of the titles, I guess I should say, for the dominant position would be Dom, Master, Owner, or, of course, something you guys are familiar with, Daddy. Daddy refers to daddy domination, another form of BDSM. And that's actually becoming pretty popular now. But if you didn't know, Daddy is always referring to daddy domination, even if the person knows it or not. And the submissive titles would have to be sub, slave, pet, or little. Little referring to daddy, etc., etc. And of course, with any of these titles, there are variants for gender, and there's probably more relationships I'm not thinking of offhand, but we're just giving a little rundown at the core of these relationships, because everything that BDSM stands for is actually against abuse. It is a relationship, and it's very caring, very kind. Some people can't see the difference between BDSM and abuse, but when you look at it, you can't judge a book by its cover. So when you look at a relationship, what you may define as it, what you personally see, may look like abuse, but you generally have to judge it not from your perspective, but the perspective of the two people involved. And it's very different for everybody. That's why there's not one type of one type of relationship. There's not one type of couple. You have to look at it as, instead of there's a line, there's a big circle, and there's segments of the circle. Everybody has their own custom segment. So therefore, when someone's in here, your segment could be over here, and everything over here to you is abuse. But to them, this is what they want. And over here is abuse to them. So it's not all black and white. It's very difficult for most newer people to be able to look at it from someone else's perspective, but an easy way to tell is you can definitely see between the moods of the partners and how happy they are, if the relationship is good or not. Now, you shouldn't try and judge it from that core itself, because things happen throughout life, but it's just not black and white like everyone sees, and there's definitely a big difference between abuse and BDSM. And that's part of why I'm doing these vlogs, is to take away that stigma, to introduce you guys into it, give you guys a view of what it really is, or what it could be for you, and just generally, just to bring it out there, make sure, or try and get it to be more accepted. And that's about it for today's vlog. I'll talk to you guys next time. Mr.Sasek signing out.